Energy is something that we focus a lot of. We focus a lot on energy. Without energy, nothing happens. So
Yeah.
power systems is where we are focusing since November 2025, whereby we are sending our experts on site to get back to recycle those rectifiers, DC-DC converters, controllers, and get them back to the network so that the network gets improved. So we are killing lots of pain points into logistics, time, and to recycle, and also the basically the PNL is
Yeah.
really looking beautiful when you bring that solution to your customers. And this is really flying now that customer have understood the importance. Now this is flying on my side. Yeah,
Lovely.
this
And
is
we
where so
know.
we help our customers to buy time.
Welcome to another inspiring episode of Value Seller Talks, where we bring visionary leaders, industry pioneers, and change makers who are shaping the future of business and technology. I'm your host, Deepak Bajaj, and today we are honored to be joined by an exceptional telecom leader, strategist, and entrepreneur whose impact has been felt across multiple countries in Africa and beyond. Our guest today is Sanjay Santbakshsing. He is the founder and CEO of Sanjay Consultancy, a respected advisor and consulting firm which is helping organizations to navigate the evolving telecommunication landscape. With more than three decades of experience, Sanjay has successfully led large-scale telecom operations, transformation programs, and strategic initiatives across Africa and Madagascar. Obviously, if coming from that rich experience, so there's no company which he has not touched with, whether it's Ericsson, Huawei, Nokia, and he knows the inside out of the telecom industry. But what sets Sanjay apart is not only his deep technical and operational expertise, but also his ability to translate complex challenges into sustainable business opportunities. And mind you, Africa is not a straight continent, it's very complicated. So, one shoe size fit for all doesn't work. So, every country, every region has their different challenges, and Sanjay knows how to handle very well. So, a passionate advocate of talent development, capacity building, which is the need of the hour in Africa, Sanjay believes that the true strength of any organization lies in its people. His leadership philosophy is rooted in integrity, collaboration, innovation, and a commitment to creating a lasting value for customers, partners, and communities. Today, we will explore his remarkable journey, discuss the future of telecommunication in Africa, uncover emerging opportunities for operators and enterprises, and gain valuable insight on leadership, innovation, and building successful businesses in dynamic market and complicated market like Africa. So please join me in welcoming Sanjay to Value Seller Talks. Welcome, Sanjay.
Thank you, Deepak. Thanks.
Perfect.
I'm very
Uh,
glad to be and honored to be on your platform this morning.
Thank you so much. And it's our honor that we are able to get your time and get a chance to speak with you. We know each other from last, I think, more than 8, 9 years now, if I'm
Yep,
not mistaken. But yes, it's the first time we are talking face to face, virtually.
exactly.
Great.
Wonderful.
Uh, Thank you. Thanks for your time. Uh, so Sanjay, if I go and talk about your experience and your expertise and your achievements, definitely the whole time, will become too short for that. But now coming directly that before talking about all these things, we want to know. When I say we, the 50,000 audience, global audience wants to know who is Sanjay beyond a telecom executive and entrepreneur.
Okay, thank you, Deepak. I prefer to start from the beginning. So basically, who is Sanjay Santbakshsing? I'm a simple engineer, electrical and electronic engineer. Got my degree from King's College London. And also I was graduated MBA at Heriot-Watt University in Edinburgh. But beyond these credentials, and above all, I'm a lifelong learner. I'm a proud family man, husband to a wonderful wife, and father of two wonderful and responsible children. It reminds me every day of what truly matters in life, relationships, values, and the impact we leave behind.
Mm.
My professional journey has taken me across some of the most dynamic telecom markets on the continent. I spent 17 years in MTEL Mauritius, as you know, 6 years with Telma in Madagascar. Being the bilingual, I speak French and English both, so it helped to grow across Africa in Madagascar was my first step into the expatriate life. And followed by 18 months with Ericsson in Nigeria and 6 years with Camzat across East Africa and Indian Ocean. So that is over 30 years of hands-on experience navigating diverse cultures, complex markets, and an industry that never stands still, as you know. That's what makes it very exciting indeed. Throughout this journey, I've had the privilege of working directly with seasoned and visionary leaders and trendsetters in the telecom industry. What I've learned from them and from the ground is this: technology means nothing without people. I've
Mm.
invested a significant part of my professional energy into human capital, building cultures of business alignment where people understand and live and breathe and vision and company objectives. I carry zero ego into the room I walk into. I stay grounded. I keep up to the technological evolution, economic impact, and I believe in sharing knowledge and positive energy generously. Coming on today's chapter where we're having this interview after this incredible 360-degree professional journey across Africa, I came back to Mauritius in April 2022 when I launched Sanjay Santbakshsing Consultancy. It is my way of channeling everything I've absorbed over the 3 decades, the lessons, the relationship, the failures and the wins into helping organization grow with clarity and purpose. Okay, I feel truly blessed for everything this journey has given me. And I'm excited to be here today to share some of those experiences, insights, and reflections with you. Thank you for having me, Deepak.
Oh, thank you so much. I picked two important words, during your thing.
Yes.
First part, which I believe is applicable for every person on this planet is leave your ego. That's very
Yes.
important, right? Because when you talk about the ego, definitely you can't make your human connections. So definitely, thanks for bringing that particular point to our audience and giving a very important message. So that's important. Now, 3 decades, 30 years is a very long time. But there are some moments which still make you feel excited, right? Can you share those moments with us? Uh, that, you know, there are so many,
Yeah.
whichever which you think is relevant.
Exciting is the dynamics of the industry. The dynamics of the industry being the culture, the people, the shifts, the speed with which the industry is moving is really, really, really extraordinary. You never get bored with one thing and the next thing takes over, you see? So that's what makes it very, very interesting to work in such a dynamic industry and with multicultural society. It really makes the amalgam extraordinary and very, very exciting to work with.
Lovely. And now this creates another question that you mentioned all these countries, basically from north to south, you have covered everything. Now, I want to know and I want to hear your perspective how Sanjay looks at Africa.
Hey, Sanjay looks at Africa as a very interesting like Africa for me is an emerging market, right? It keeps growing. You have lots of uncovered, uh, you know, uh, there are lots of potential there, loads of potential, and it's growing fast. And that's why I opened up and I launched my Sanjay Consultancies to go and help my ex-employers or new customers who want my services because I've been there. I've been on the both sides of the game. I was 23 years from the operator side, from the MNO side, and
Mm,
I jumped the fence. I went to the international service provider side like Ericsson, Camusa, and I have seen the operator from the other angle, which I could not see when I was sitting as MNO, you know?
mm,
So that angle gave me a 300-degree perspective. And this is what helps me to go and help others and change their mindset into the business. So this is how I see Africa, and I'm bringing my benefits and my experience to them so that they can buy time, get to the destination. No need to reinvent the wheels, as they say. I exited the industry at the age of 54, so I got retired at 54. So I launched my Sanjay consultancy at the age of 54 to really get back to them and show them both angles from one perspective, from one person, so that they can buy time, see things differently. Because when you sit on one side, you don't see the other side, and when you see their head, you don't see the tail, and when you see the tail, you don't see the head. Whereas I've seen both, so I help
mm.
them go faster into this industry.
Mm. And that makes you dynamic because this is where the most of the people get stuck in their professional journey. Those who are in
Yes.
operator, they are finding a very difficult to adjust when they have to move to or join some other non-operator companies, maybe third party or maybe a OEMs, and that's where their
Yeah,
struggle starts. So, but by the
exactly.
way, love to ask which side is more interesting, in the in MNO or outside the MNO?
I will tell you, it's a very good question. Being on the service provider side is more interesting. When you're sitting on the MNO side, you only get to see your part and you don't see what's happening to your competitors. You only can like think what's going on or speculate. Whereas when you sit on the service provider side and you're giving services to all the competitors among themselves, their competitors, right? So you
Yeah.
get to see what's happening, in fact, how these guys are competing with each other. And, it's quite interesting to see those dynamics and the war that goes on. War means, the competition on price war, on their service war, on their how they defragment the industry from each side. I'll talk about it later when it comes to this point, but yeah, it's from the service provider side, it's more exciting.
Yeah, we always call it as it's become a B2C market. So you have
Yes.
also the different customers across different geographies. And but when you become a OEM specific, then it's become an account handling rather than the and more
Yeah,
into the
yeah,
B2B side. Yeah, I
exactly.
totally
You get
agree.
you get to see everybody's dynamics clearly. Whereas
Yeah.
when you're sitting on the middle side, you only see yours very clearly, but there was on the other side, you just speculate.
Right, fully agree with you. And again, three decades, long time, right? And if I say, I still remember that there are time when the 2G was a priority, and now we are talking about 5G, now 6G. But what is the transformation which you have witnessed and which still makes you very excited?
Yeah, I've started at the 2G. Okay, I started the industry in 1980, in 1991.
Mm,
When 2G was launched in Mauritius, we were the first to launch the mobile telecommunication network in the Southern Hemisphere. So I spent like 17 years in this industry in Mauritius, and then I went to Africa and all those. So what I saw basically is really low penetration, from low penetration in many markets. Okay, low mobile penetration in many markets. The infrastructure was quite fragile. Okay,
mm,
patchy coverage, connectivity was a privilege, not a given. What I've noticed during these 3 decades is nothing short but extraordinary, Deepak. Mobile revolution changed everything from the limited fixed line infrastructure to mobile networks, leapfrogging entire generations of telecommunication and technology. Then came the data era, okay? Smartphones, mobile money, digital services. Suddenly, telecoms was not just about voice calls anymore. It became the backbone of the entire economy, okay?
Mm,
So what do you hear these days if you come across the telecoms and you just filter one chapter of the other? The telecoms industry is defragmenting into towerco, ESCO, fiberco, data centers, submarine cable, resilience in the infrastructure. So investment is going on, and and the telecoms operators are massively defragmenting and diversifying their business in one way or the other. There is surge in data demand also driven by the young digitally hungry population. Okay.
mm,
So we are still in the middle of a dramatic transformation, which I'll explain to you later.
wonderfully. And I still remember that the 2G at that time getting of one mobile phone was a prestige. That is a proud moment. And
Yeah, a very heavy one, which people were using as a tool to communicate, also as a tool to protect themselves.
exactly, exactly. So that's movement from 2G, 3G, 4G. I'm pretty much sure. But the challenges which the 2G has at his time was very, very different from now. We are handling the 5G networks, right? The,
Yes,
hmm.
it's
So,
really something. Yeah, go
yeah.
on.
Yeah, please. Okay. So right now, when I saw talk about the opportunities, right, and you rightly mentioned the various department, whether we talk from a operator perspective, infrastructure perspective, because infrastructure is in a very high demand
Yeah.
as an emerging market, and the technological company like OEM who actually develop technology. So how you look all these multiple ecosystem, right, for the Africa's digital growth future?
Okay, so basically, if we take Africa and the opportunities we have, it's the first opportunity is basically is to optimize your network. Okay, optimizing network is something very, very important. So so basically, the key, basically, if you want to take and get the opportunity in Africa, the key is to show up with a very long-term commitment, respect for the local ecosystems, and genuine partnership with the African business and governments. Okay. Don't forget, Africa has over 1.4 billion people. Okay.
Mhm.
And it's still significant connectivity gaps, particularly in rural and underserved areas. This social challenge is a massive commercial opportunity. For infrastructure providers, tower sharing is going on, passive infrastructure, rural connectivity programs represent strong growth areas. For technology companies, the demand for cloud services, cybersecurity, enterprise digital transformation is accelerating. You know that already. For the operators, the shift towards becoming a digital service providers, moving beyond the pipe is where the value creation lies. Yeah.
Right. And we all know that there's a big challenge of the physical terrain is so difficult to have. And now the emerging nowadays we are talking about satellites, we are talking about data centers, we talk about the data should reside in that country, and the policies are coming up. So how these are helping and strategizing the growth in a phased manner. What's your thought?
All those things are basically you see more and more SMEs are coming up. As the SMEs, basically, they don't have the capital to invest on their own infrastructure. So this is where the data centers are coming and helping them in a very smooth pace to get their infrastructure in place. Of course, when we talk about infrastructure, we are talking also about cybersecurity. Today, you know how the world is changing and how many hackers are coming to do wrong things on this planet. So cybersecurity is becoming also something very important toward this. And with the development that I've told you earlier about ESCO, TowerCo, all the things, this is helping the MNOs also to focus on what their main objective is. That is to sell airtime, to give a good service to their customers while they outsource and they give to somebody more specialized to look after the infrastructure. So these are the opportunities that is roaming into Africa and in the whole world, but we are focusing Africa. And this is what's causing this smooth deployment and movement in speed with technology. Uh, so yeah,
Mm, mm. And one insight stuff I want to ask.
yeah.
Although we know that technology has advantages, but how comfortable the African youth or African population in adopting that technology? So, are they tech
Okay.
savvy?
I don't. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, they're Africans, of course. Do you know where the mobile payment started? Do you know where it started?
I
Mobile
think
payment. M-Pesa.
Kenya,
M-Pesa
yeah,
started in Kenya, Africa, right? So these guys, if you give them the opportunity to learn, they're quite fast learners. I've experienced myself during my tenure as CEO in all those companies. And you just have to give them the opportunity to learn, the tools to use, and the infrastructure. These guys make miracles.
mm,
They are very, very technical savvy and they are fast learners. So yeah, so Africans are really good, good, good people to, you should just believe in them, give them everything that they require, and they just show you the potential.
lovely. That's a very, very positive thing. And we all know, or if anyone say Google it, the first thing which comes is Africa is a youth continent. And youth
Yeah,
have the power to change because they know they are flexible and they accept the changes very fast. As you rightly
exactly.
mentioned,
Exactly.
if we give them the right technology and a right direction, they can do miracles because they all are energetic and they know the problem which they have suffered and they don't want the next generation to get part of those problematic situations. Thank you for
Absolutely.
bringing that particular part. Uh, I'm curious to know what exactly the Sanjay consultancy mission is.
Sanjay concentration is very simple, Deepak. With the experience I have and the vision and the experience I have had on the 300-degree perspective, Sanjay mission is to come and save you time. Time is money for everybody.
Mm,
Okay? So if you allow me to take a little bit of time with you to talk about Sanjay consulting services, basically we do headhunting. Headhunting normally takes about 1 to 2 months to get their executive level candidates. Within 48 hours, the network I've built and the people I know who have worked with me directly, no need, no need, you don't have any better experience than those working directly with you, served you and performed with you together into the challenging environment. So that saves a lot of time to my customers who ask me to look for the right person on the executive level, be the project management level. We do also resource placement. Some people have a gap suddenly. They are still looking for a project manager or a CEO. We go and do resource placement temporarily for that period so that when the person they finally obtain, we do a handover, soft handover, and then their mission critical mission carries on with the person they've onboarded. So we come and fill gaps so that they don't have any obstacle in front. We are also now going, we have kept the Sanjay Constitute very grounded. People are just going into technology, moving to G, 3G, 4G, 5G, 6G. Energy is something that we focus a lot on energy. Without energy, nothing happens. So
yeah.
power systems is where we are focusing since November 2025, whereby we are sending our experts on site to get back to recycle those rectifiers, DC-DC converters, controllers, and get them back to the network so that the network gets improved. So we are killing lots of pain points into logistics, time, and to recycle, and also the basically the PNL is
Yeah.
really looking beautiful when when you bring that solution to your customers. And this is really flying now that customer have understood the importance. Now this is flying on my side. Yeah,
Lovely.
this
And
is
we
where so
know.
we help our customers to buy time.
Yeah. No, no, agree. So the convenience, the saving time, bringing the right candidate as per their requirement, and definitely this will only happen when you know equivalent to or better than your customer problems, right? And without having that experience and serving uh, on that esteemed leadership role, so no one will understand better than you. And I'm still surprised, like at the time, most of the people retire. You have taken a new challenge, a new entrepreneurship challenge, which which is not an easy thing to do.
True.
So congratulations.
I think thanks to the footprint I've left in Africa, my ex-employers are still seeking my support, and I thank them a lot for that. And this is what is building this synergy.
Definitely, yes. What the work you did at the in your past, and again refreshing, removing your ego, and when you become a people person, definitely the relationship carries for the lifelong, not for that transaction or not
Absolutely,
for
you're
that
right.
that time. Now, it's a very
Bang
important
on.
because now, nowadays, what is happening? I tell you, there are a lot many companies are coming, startups ecosystem is coming up, right? But during at the start, they looks good, they are performing really well. But when the person who has no experience, when and after coming from colleges, from an incubation center, they immediately become entrepreneur. Now there's a lot of missing of the practical situation. They can build a
Yeah.
very good AI software, right? But how to handle the person who is working for them, is a big tricky task for them.
Yes.
So
True.
it's a
True.
it's a separate topic, but yes, again, yeah, but again, for those communities who are actually building something good for the company for themselves, handling the people is very crucial. So learn from Mr. Sanjay that how he has started uh, 3 decades back, and now where the journey is moving. So thank you, Bray, for bringing all these factors. Uh,
Thank you, Deepak.
Now, you have already, answered that finding a right talent is something which a lot of people. But there are some situations which has come where the your old contacts may don't have that necessary skill set. Let's say AI, for the sake of discussion,
Yeah.
right? Now, if that type of opportunities comes to you, how you handle that tricky part? Because getting a right fit is also a very challenge, and getting from within Africa, is all maybe a more challenging for you.
My personal experience, right? So, first of all, before I tell you my experience about the talents I brought on board, let me explain to you a little bit of a telecoms network. You see telecoms network or the whole population are not in the industry, see the telecoms network as a phone and as a tower that is sitting beside the office or the home. But beside this architecture, there are lots of stakeholders in the value chain that carries you to the data in the US, the UK, anywhere in the world that carries the data to your phone. So these architecture, the networks, they're not owned by only one owner. There are several owners in the value chain. So if you don't have the right candidate who understand the architecture from end to end and do not have the skill set and the communication, we transverse communication because we have several departments in an organization. So if these guys are not open-minded, they are not communicating properly, and they are working in silos, that can be very costly to an organization. So bringing on board talents like I'm telling you, I'm always looking for somebody who is like thirsty to learn, open-minded, and always going extra miles, and is ready to share his knowledge, because without sharing you don't grow. It's by sharing you exchange information. This is how you grow. So this is how I've been looking for talents to work in Africa for me, and that's why I promote today.
Mhm. And it's not an easy thing because every person has their own, other than skill set, everyone has their own personal needs. And to get the match with the employee requirement and making it align with their personal goals is something is also, it's not an easy thing to do.
It's something very I would like to add to what you have asked me and to what you just said. It's very important to promote the bottom up and the top down communication. So
Mm.
when you go into a meeting and you create the culture, you just listen. You have to listen before you act. Listen before you say anything, because listening to these guys, they are talking about the real ground, ground level reality, the culture, the context of the situation, the context of the country. We are foreigners. We're just going there for a while, and then they have been there for a long time. So listening to them and adapting to the culture, that helps a lot. And also give them opportunity to voice out without any fear. That what has helped my organization grow uh, in what I've been doing so far. So yes,
Mm. And I agree. Listening before acting, yeah, wonderful. Right. And also maybe at that time there's a point where you also can contribute because maybe they are having something in their mind and they're just looking the candidature, from their own perspective. But yes, something, not everything is written on the profile.
yes. So basically, what they look for, they are just chasing on CVs and skill sets. But this is how I bring value to those process, because those who are only looking for only skill sets, and they have the skill set, is not going to help them move far. You see? So that's why people trust me, because they've seen my work, they've seen the people I've onboarded, and why they succeed is basically because I bring on board people who are really open-minded, as I said earlier, and they know the network architecture from end to end. They know about the importance of cross organization communication, transverse communication, and also they are very very thirsty to learn more and to share knowledge. So if you have those elements into your organization, sky's the limit.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, interesting. So there's one more thing which is coming in my mind now that
Yeah,
today,
please.
as we talk about what is the opportunities which is in high demand in Africa right now? Is a technical or leader, project management, anything based on your experience?
Some they're all moving at the same speed, right? So and people are just talking about AI. So this is something that you can do on the side. AI is something that helps people to grow faster in time. But AI can also bring a slowness to your thinking process, so your thinking mind. Sometimes you can see people doing 1 plus 1 using a calculator. Why? Because the calculator has helped them do big figures. So they have so much dependence. They have so much dependency on calculators that 1 plus 1 also needs a calculator. So AI is as much as it is interesting and can really be efficient to your workflow, that can also slow you down in your thinking process. So that's a danger. So what is really happening in the industry, Deepak? Things are moving in parallel. So whether it's a CEO, whether it's PM, whether it's they need somebody who will move efficiently. They have a limited budget. Budget is becoming something very, very crucial now, and approval is getting delayed because there's so many things happening all around. So before the board sits down, they need really to consider the dynamics and whether they're taking the right direction because they are put CEOs, CTOs, all the C levels are there to advise them, but they also know the risks because these guys are so deep down in their what they do on a day-to-day basis. They are not thinking aloud sometimes, and they don't have all the full picture of the situation. Whether at the board level they are meeting people, they are cross-functional. They have a bigger picture of what's happening and where they should go. So this is why things are getting a bit difficult at the board level to get things approved, to get capexes approved, because the organization and the board have two different speeds of moving. And the
Mm.
view that the board level has compared to the organization is quite different. So that's why you have to really be very good at challenging the board's vision and making them approve your capex to go into one direction.
Mm, agree, agree. Because both the departments and both the units has a different way of looking the same thing. One want efficiency, but another want ROI, right? And then
Exactly,
so,
exactly.
so
That's where I'm coming from. Which one we should invest on? Because ROI is what I'm looking for as an investor. And yeah, yeah.
Exactly. No, no, it's again, now we will open the some boardroom discussion, over here, which we don't want to because it's a separate topic. But yes, it's very, very important. Yes, you rightly mentioned the budgets. It's very challenging nowadays, and we all know whether it's in India, US, or in Africa, the market is mature. So ARPU and other things are mostly, stable and fixed. And the only thing is to control is to reduce the cost so that your P&L should become more lucrative, and that's where the investor has put the
Hang
money
on.
across.
Even in some countries, ARPU is even decreasing because, why ARPU is decreasing, it depends on how you set the ARPU calculation, the equation. Uh, You see, the mobile industry has focused on urban areas. Why?
Yeah.
Because urban areas where the business is, people talk, people will generate revenues for you, make a lot of discussions on the phone, and things will get on well, use the data, use everything. Whether rural, there's nothing happening there. People may have a lot of money. They have business. They are ones like the agriculture. Everything is
Yeah.
there, and they are the ones sending through transportation to you. But if you put your mobile network there, so a speculation at the beginning will, when you're speculating to put something there, you say, okay, that one, how the ROI is too far. So deployment of your own infrastructure may not be interesting. You want to go with somebody who is ready to do a revenue share with you. All the
Hmm.
cost, the capex, the opex remain yours as a partner to the MNO, and you let the guys manage it for you and then generate revenue. And with time, when goes mature, you see the business that is generating the opportunity you gave in telecommunication. You're connecting everybody to the same information now. Now people are from the rural are transferring to like an urban traffic. So
Hmm.
then you start developing in time that now it's time for you to deploy your own network. You give a chance to somebody to come and help you at the time, like 5 years, 10 years. And with 5 years, 10 years maturity, you see things happening now, then you deploy your own network. So this is a dynamic that a lot of discussion happens on the board level, whether to go with your own infrastructure and accept to delay your ROI, or give it to somebody on a revenue share basis, where they take the
Hmm.
capex and the opex.
Yeah, I agree. Again, it depends on case by case, as you rightly mentioned. So again, who wants to take maximum risk? That's where the calculations comes into. Yeah, but yes, thanks for bringing that part because one thing which you rightly mentioned that in some areas the ARPU is decreasing, and the rural
Yeah,
areas or those areas which has the potential, but the people are not going and deploying their network over there because of the high capex, opex, so on and so forth. But yes,
yeah,
I totally, totally agree with that particular part. Now, I want to get more insights from you to those people who are building a high performance teams, right? So, first point here is that what are the common mistakes that organizations make when they are transforming them from a team to a to a large scale or a or they call it a high performance, especially in the telecom infrastructure domain?
Okay, interesting question. I'll still give you my experience on the ground. So
Yeah.
basically, high performance teams, they are not born like high performance teams. No, this does not exist. It all depends on the leadership you bring on board. It all depends on how you diffuse information from the top to the grapevines. Okay, what culture you set the tone. I was overlooking 7 countries, so it's important to have like one person is leading the 7 countries, but how the information comes, if each one goes into different information, different way of displaying things, different way of it becomes messy in my mind, and I cannot take decisions rapidly and to bring to the board for further decision. So basically, creating a culture is important. Get the right skill set, open mind, regular meetings in a set way, regular meetings, and you build a template with what information you want, the KPIs, So each month we follow the trends, who is taking care of which project, and who under budgeted, who over budgeted. So we can identify. It's not really to blame. Blame game is not something that we should be using at all. This is only going to kill the organization. KPIs are set to identify the strength so that you can further strengthen, and to also identify your weaknesses and to mitigate those weaknesses. So this is what I had put in place to create a culture, set a template, gather this information across your same equation use all across. But when we were considering each and every project, we were really putting aside as an important thing is to consider the context of the country.
Mhm.
Not all African countries are the same level of education. So you would not be expecting the same input, although you have created a same platform, similar platform. You listen to those guys, you talk to them every day, but the assimilation power and the communication skills are totally different because each country has their own mindset based on the context of the country.
Mhm.
So you see, so that's something very important to have this culture and to create those high performing teams. They are not born high performers. You have to be there behind them, grow them, so that one day when you leave a footprint and they can take over without any problem.
Mm. And that's the reason you mentioned that it all depends on leadership, that what direction they give it to them. Like I give you one
Yes.
example, as you rightly mentioned that having a small checklist in the X on the Excel, just to that who is responsible for what, how the
Yeah.
flow look into, because everyone is learning, every person is learning,
Yes. Yes.
and this is the role of a leader to extract the performance from them. They will not come by birth.
Yep. Absolutely. And something very important, Deepak, that I should mention here is the culture of open space. The culture of open space is something that has been deployed by the Europeans before and slowly been implanted into Africa. The culture of open space is why did this open space was created, provided, is one to allow people to exchange because these computers, these phones are given, those tools are given, and people just send mail and expect an answer. If you know you're receiving so many mails, some you can may skip, and so basically you're not responding in time expected from you. So we have pushed and promoted personal communication, one-to-one communication, no emails. I don't want any emails. Is only to back up what you have communicated verbally. Okay,
Mm.
so that also helped a lot into creating high-performing teams. These communication, personal communication, verbal communication, meetings together, sharing ideas, and then going and attack the project. So yeah, so that has helped a lot.
Mm. Interesting. Yeah, that personal touch and sharing the ideas and open space means that everyone can share and your idea should will be heard, and that's
Yes.
important.
Yeah.
So lovely, lovely, and I'm feeling very very excited and happy also for this part, because in most of the companies, the big organization, where the bureaucracy is more there, right? The people are not allowed to say anything,
Yeah.
and then this and there's a gradual fall of the performance, as well as the people leave that organization in frustration. So yes, and I totally, because I also been not as vast experience like you, but I also spent some time in understanding African culture. So definitely the north of the sub Africa, or maybe the North Africa, is different from the west and the south, right? So we have to understand the people way of reacting, so that your
Yeah.
pitches should be according to them, right? Um,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now again, as Africa as a baseline, right? So your experience, and you have delivered so many successful projects, whether it's a tower deployment, fiber, energy, solar. Now the talent, is also one of the critical thing which you're handling. So what are the key ingredients for a successful project execution?
Okay. Interesting question again, Deepak. So a project, you have to have the right skill set to become the project manager. Somebody who's open mind, who already has the skill set, who knows about the project, and also they have a workflow on the project,
Mm,
risk assessment and mitigation, presentation of the project also to the customer so that they get a feedback whether they've understood the project. Most of all, and important is the budget put for this project. What budget are we fixing on this project? So if somebody has all the skill set, they know all the risks, you know, all the stretching that they need to do to keep the budget to that budget, to keep the budget, respect the budget at the end of the day, and also communication. Communication is key. Also, the value chain, as I told you earlier, is important. Who do you put as your, suppose you're subcontracting or you're in source, you're doing in-house. So who you're putting on the ground to do this project for you, supervise this project. So you have to have an organization well set with the right people in the right place so that the information flows very well and timely. And
mm,
communication is done on a timely basis because one failure can create a lot of damage, whether it's commercial relationship and whether it's good towards the government. So it causes a havoc in an organization. So getting the right skill set and communication is important.
and that's the reason you will handle the customer expectation, so that the
Yes.
customer will become a part of your execution plan, rather than just becoming a order taking or order giving machine. And that's where the
Absolutely.
relation.
Because when we have a project, we have a responsibility matrix that we set in place, and we build an understanding between the customer and ourselves. So when we have this responsibility matrix, and we have a Gantt chart, they all know when their responsibility comes and where it stops, so that the next flow starts. So having this relationship with the customer like becomes a partner. You're not a supplier or an MNO. It becomes a partnership. This partnership, each one has his responsibility, each one has his own risk, each one has his own, but communicating those risks and mitigating them together is what helps to reach to the destination on the time and with a budget set.
Lovely. And it's a needed, because the customer has a full right to understand what is going on. And if we are talking with the right customer and the right people in the customer lobby, so they also want to contribute, because at the end of the day, it's not their responsibility, well, it's not our responsibility, it's their responsibility, and that's the reason they have released the RFPs and the other tender requirements. So they also have their own KRA to fulfill, and but they need your support, and you also need their support to have a full gelling effect. So Thanks for bringing all these successful integration recipes, how to do this. And definitely, one takeaway which from this point is uh, be very open with the customer. Don't There's no need of hiding, anything, because something which you can control, you should control. But you should have a full communication channel open with these people, speak with them, and they should consider you as a responsible player. And that's the way you can grow your business and grow your relationship. Wow.
Yes, absolutely.
And it works across. So Africa being a more challenging, there I know there are more moving parts because of the terrain, because of the logistics, because of the import of the stuff. We all understand, and definitely we also have our own internal power utilities challenges as well. Like in South Africa, we always talk about the load shedding and all sort of things. Then the priorities gets changed. But yes, all this thing, the baseline is uh, have a open communication. uh, Great, right. Again, as I mentioned, load shedding, right? And the one thing which you mentioned is on the energy side. So
Yes.
now getting the energy, and itself become an OPEX, and every time the cost of getting the procuring the energy is going high and high. So how you, from a Sanjay consultancy perspective, how you are helping them to control that cost, and what other new alternative you are bringing for these people?
Ooh, interesting. Energy is, as I told you very early in our discussion,
Yeah.
energy is without energy, nothing happens. Okay. So energy is a very critical factor in Africa since the grid is not well established in most of the countries. And now we are talking about the environmental society, social, sorry, and governance, ESG. So that is making the corporate sectors, the telecom sectors, even more involved into renewable energy. Okay. So when we talk about renewable energy, you need the space on the ground, or you have wind energy, depend on where you are on the planet, where the wind energy can develop the power you need to run your telecoms, but mostly used are solar energy. So how these how Sanjay Consulting is coming to help the operators is basically to help them have a honest audit on their network. So how do we go about it? We take their consumptions, the fuel consumption, because today what is being used mostly diesel. Diesel gensets everywhere, where we have off grid, but bad grids. So diesel is the one that is commonly used everywhere in Africa, and that is destroying the environment and also is creating other businesses. As you know, I don't want to mention the other business, but it's quite a challenge, geographically to deliver the diesel on those difficult sites on the mountains, crossing the rivers, carrying those fuel. So it's important for the mobile operators to do that. What we help them is to do an audit of what they have today, use the top 10 or top 15 or 50 most consume diesel consumption sites and help them to deploy their solar systems there. So space is not a problem in Africa because those sites which are off-grid are mostly on the rural sites. So space is not a problem. So once the audit is done, you know where the consumption is high. You help them deploy the right power to reduce the diesel. So in some places you can up to reduce the dependency on diesel up to 90%. So that impacts directly your bottom line. So this helps them to make more economies, and this exercise goes on and on and on until the whole process is complete. And this is what makes sense, of course, because solar is still very expensive as a capex to deploy. But since it's being capitalized, so that helps the P&L a little bit more than what you're using as diesel. Another point I wanted to raise here, besides the diesel and the solar, it's the right deployment I've already told you the segmentation of the site we do, and also the ESG. Once you're in the ESG group, you are if you have already deployed those sites on solar, it's becoming more like you're more competitive on the market and you're more prone to get business from the government because you're already on this path. Okay. So that is helping a lot of organization getting business because they're already on the ESG path. Some MNOs have this challenge to get both approval for CapExes to roll out because our ROI is quite far, even if you're capitalizing your investment. So what they do, they give it off to the ESCO companies, energy service companies who have the funds, their finance vehicles. They have the capex, they have everything to deploy. So they take your network, their passive infrastructure of your network for 10 years. They invest heavily, replacing slowly, gradually your diesel into solar, into renewable energy and they also take over the maintenance part of the business. So that gives you time to recover from the damage caused from the initial investment. And after 10 years, you can decide to take it back from them. It's like build, operate, and transfer.
Mm.
So yeah, this is what I wanted to share with you.
It's first of all, yes, the challenges with the fuel is getting high, and now we know what is the impact going in the Middle East part, and the whole supply has been becoming a more and more crucial and critical, and we all know what is there is a separate topic altogether. But yes, it's also one thing which most of the people and most of the companies actually put it at the back in the back pocket is the environmental, right? We
Yes.
all understand the various businesses you rightly mentioned, but this environment, because Africa still is greener continent than other, developing countries. So, but still, the level of the carbon is increasing. It's a global issue. But moving into that particular topic and making the it safer and cleaner and at least breathable, for the next generation is something which is very, very important. So yeah, thanks, Sanjay, for bringing that particular topic. And definitely, there's a lot of room to play in that domain, uh, which I'm pretty much sure that someone, is developing some more technology from the electric perspective, from the solar perspective, from a different hydrogen, which has become a new topic nowadays. So, so yeah, exciting time ahead. But we all need it in a faster pace rather than a long-term project strategy movement.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. One important part here is that today we all talk about the AI and other thing which you have already mentioned. So how you see the AI is needed in Africa? Definitely the answer is yes. But what are the areas where the AI should be used on a very fast priority basis? You cannot put AI across all the across, right? We know all the computation and other things which is needed, right? GPUs and others. So what opportunities which you think should be taken as a first while implementing the AI thing?
I think the important part on the telecoms, I'm only focusing on telecoms. I'm not focusing on
Yeah.
other business because where our topic is today.
Yeah.
So AI basically is already being implemented in Africa. It's not that when we are talking about it, people will learn from it and then deploy it. No, this is already being used in the agriculture to have the right temperature, right set, right amount of water. Everything is controlled by AI. So this is where the IoT also is playing the Internet of Things. They're monitoring, things are being monitored on a real-time basis now with 5G on board. Before it was near to real time, but now as I can say it's real time. And industry like we have, it's not yet in Africa, but it will come someday. I'm talking about autonomous mobility, you know, uh, people like
Mm.
driverless car. This is happening elsewhere, but not in Africa yet. But okay, we are far from this for Africa. We have smart factories. We have intelligent cities, okay, cameras monitoring traffics and giving information on time so that congestion doesn't happen. So AI is really going to be important in agriculture, which is something a very important industry in Africa, and also in monitoring the network. environment, the telecoms network. This is where you capture the information. You have a network management system to capture into real time the information of the network behavior and take the right decisions on time. So AI is really something important into bringing efficiency to how you manage your network and, of course, gradually impacting your P&L.
Mm. Yes,
You know,
yeah, agree. So,
without AI, what's happening? You're capturing information on an Excel, and then people are taking their time to analyze. So time is passing by. It takes weeks to decide on where to send your logistics on diesel to fill your tanks. Whereas AI is already capturing information. We based on the logics you have put, you can also predict when the outage will happen and mitigate the outage on time and dedicate resource on a timely basis. So you're not running around like a headless chicken, yeah, and spending a lot of money of the organization. That's where this economy is coming from. AI is really important into this economic equation, and this is what will impact positively the PNL.
mm. I remember there was those days when we were talking about from a reactive to a proactive. Now from proactive to a predictive. That's
Predictive,
the That's the
absolutely.
journey. Yeah, exactly. And now,
Yeah,
and most of the, of course, mentioned, they want to become from a telco to techco. And now they are talking of from techco to a AI co. So
yeah.
that's that's the that's the journey which is going and we all are experiencing that.
It's amazing the transformation. Like you see, we had voice, we have the data. Now we move to knowledge. When you had internet, now you're moving to intelligence with the AI. And what 6G is preparing for us, it's decision. 6G is even going to take decisions on what to do with the data. So basically, or will human be replaced completely somehow, somewhere, when 6G will be there? This is how they
In
will.
Yeah, just out of the track. So in my coming episode, I'm hosting a gentleman who is again in the industry from last 30 years, and he has written a book on the 6G, and
Ah,
we'll be talking more on the 6G, and definitely that will be some of the use cases is applicable for the emerging market like India as well as for Africa. So I'm pretty much sure that
I
that will be
think
more interesting.
I know who you're talking about. So I'm excited for this one also when it will happen.
Sure. No, no, but yes, so still at 6G for most of us is just like another fast growth data pipe. That this is what we think, but that gentleman is now talking about 6G from a different perspective. So yes, interesting thing. I have another very important question for you, and that is also my personal question, right? When we launch the let's not talk about 2G and 3G. When we launched 4G, we were very happy because the data has grown, the user experience has increased, right? Now, when we move from 4G to 5G, the excitement was there, but when it comes to the revenue or when it comes about the ROI or the profit on the 5G network, the operators are not very happy with that. Now we are talking about 6G and so on and so forth. Now, based on your experience, that what should the operator have to do, no, should not do, they have to do to position themselves in a different perspective of just providing a connectivity layer, and what type of other revenue or revenue growth they can expect by bringing the transformation internally, which they are missing at this moment.
Deepak, operators know already what they need to do, how to set the tones on the pricing. The only problem is that the competition and the price war that is associated. That is
Mm,
what is killing the operators. So basically, what the operators need to do is to sit down together with the competition in the country,
mm,
together with the regulator, and set tariff. They should already do the work, the reverse engineering, and find out what kind of package they should put in place together as one network. Don't look at at your competitor as a competitor, work together. Because each, if you are killing your revenue today to kill your part, to kill your competitor, you're also dying slowly. You're dying a slow death. You see. So why you should both die and serve the population? You're getting a good infrastructure. You're getting approval. You're getting things done. Why don't you sit together? They should sit together, apply the same rules, get the government support into setting up a very nice structure, very good coverage, and as also a very premium tariff for speed. So
Mm.
I think this is something that the operators need to think and start working around it, because coverage is where they can compete. They can put sites there, site here, where the patches are. So this the other one covers much better than this one, but sitting together will be the only solution to bring a like a standard kind of tariff to give premium package to those customers. That's the only way I see forward.
So working as a collaborator rather than a competitor, and that's what.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you will die yourself, and the whole, I must say, the resources and the expectation of the customers will also be degraded. Like I'm talking about the user experience, because when when you reduce your when you reduce the prices, right? You cannot run the business for loss for many years, right? So definitely your customer will space the quality of service. I totally agree. We have a lot
Absolutely.
of examples, from India market as well. But again, it's a
Yeah,
different
yeah.
topic. But yes, we are bang on that particular topic.
Let me tell you the benefits. Huh? When you're working as a competitor, you're not getting the ARPU. The average revenue per user is low, so you're not motivating your investors to bring more services or to improve your network capacity or to bring more bandwidth. As I told you, one network is a lot of owners and a lot of stakeholders in the value chain. It's not one owner. So though each one is expecting revenue from each other to make it happen for them, right? So it's in the benefit of the users also
Mm.
to to support the collaboration and accept the premium tariff if they want a better network to grow for them and to meet their greedy demands on data. So
Yeah.
we move from a vicious circle to a virtuous circle. So virtuous situation. So collaboration is something that should happen now, and for a premium tariff, together work together with the regulators and to set one standard tariff and not compete on that. So that's the only way forward.
Yeah. So, guys, this is something which is coming from the 30 years of experience. So take this, and it's not only from a operator perspective, but in any business, you are surrounded by a lot of competitors. So make a collective approach, because if you win, if they win, you will also win, right? But if you make them lose, so definitely your P&L will go. No, because you are disturbing the sentiments of that market, and investor will never invest on those market where the sentiments are bad. So everything is
Absolutely.
connected, right?
Yeah.
Great, great. That's a really eye opener, because most of the people has just left these things. They just want to say, okay, get my market pie and all the thing, then become a selfish mode, and customer also understand that thing very well, right? The end user. Uh, Now, I want to have the last question, and I generally call it as the legacy question, right? If the Sanjay has been given a magic wand to accelerate Africa digital transformation overnight, so what is the one change you would like to implement immediately?
Basically, before I answer you the question, we'll definitely need for a coordinated investment, smart policy framework, PPP, public partner, private partnership that make universal access economically viable. So you know where I'm heading to. I would really bang on the affordable broadband access for every African citizen now.
Hmm.
So everything else like education, healthcare, financial inclusion, entrepreneurship, governance becomes more powerful when people are connected. So that will be my foundation on my magic wand. That will be creating magic in Africa. So that will be the first thing I would like to do.
And I'm glad you mentioned that thing because when I speak with a lot of founders, of the startups, so their magic wand is to bring everything AI. I said, guys, just work on the platform, work on the baseline. AI will come, everything will
Always remain
all
grounded. Remain
yeah,
grounded.
all I always tell, in my meetings with my own customers, I always tell, AI will come automatically, but make that space where the things
Yeah.
start getting automated. So before you
Yes.
go into intelligence, make them at least connected, right? And make
It,
sure that quality of
and
service is
always
good.
remain grounded, get back to the basics always. Always. Everything we have to go back to the basics. That's people
Exactly.
get away from the basics and they get lost and they start thinking about other things which brings nowhere. But while
Yeah.
you're grounded, you stay back to your basics. This is what helps me all the time.
Yes, yes, exactly. And also once your the foundation is strong, definitely you can build anything on top of it based on the type of the customer, based on the affordability of that customer. So, but yes, whatever the money he has spent for us should be there, should be justified, should be have a value for money for him, right? Um,
Absolutely.
so thank you, Sanjay, for bringing all these insightful and inspiring conversation. What your
Thank you.
experience in 30 years, you have given some glimpse around it, and I'm pretty sure that time when you were handling those challenges, it was a new for you also, because we all are learning over the time. So thanks for refreshing all these parts and giving this the very important mantra that remain grounded and also work on these basics and the rest of the things will come over the time. So before we close, any last advice you want to share with our audience?
In a world that is changing faster than ever, before, the most important thing is to invest in yourself and in the people around you. Very, very important note from me to the whole audience listening to me. Technology will keep evolving, market will keep shifting, but the leaders who combine deep expertise with genuine curiosity, strong values with practical flexibility, and personal ambition with commitment to creating value for others, those are the ones who will build legacies that last. Last but not least, Deepak, Africa is one of the most exciting frontiers in the world for business, technology, and human development. If you have the opportunity to engage with this continent, I encourage you to do so with open eyes, open mind, and long-term perspective. The rewards, being financial, professional, personal, are extraordinary. Thank you.
And it's a very important message which you have given, Sanjay, because most of the people want quick results, and that's the reason most of the companies has winded out from they wrap their businesses from the Africa. I totally understand that thing. I have seen few companies, in my experience also while handling the African continent, it's a different one. But yes, once they accept you, then you become their lifelong partner.
Absolutely. You're right.
Right. So thank you once again, Sanjay, for bringing all these factors, giving these the insights, especially these insights, not for the from the business perspective, not from a professional perspective, from a personal perspective. So ego, becoming the open space, open communication, the people person, and definitely the execution mantra, and remain grounded. So these are the few takeaways which I have taken note out of it, and I'm pretty much sure our global 50,000 audience will definitely implement it in their execution task or in their mindsets, so that it's a time for them to use uh,
Yeah.
emotionalness.
Sorry, Deepak, but before you finish, while you are talking about it, when you add all those mantras together, they become humility and they become soft skills. So soft skills also need not be ignored. Very important. Talking about soft skills, you should
Yeah.
have this. to be able to become a
Perfect.
good leader.
Perfect. Now sounds really great, and thank you so much for bringing again all this part. And wishing you best of luck for your
Thank you.
Sanjay consultancy venture. And I'm pretty much sure your customers are getting a real value from you based on your experience and your connections, with which you are thinking like them. And wishing you again the best of luck. And to our audience, so this is Deepak Bajaj signing off, and see you next time. Thank you so much.